There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing SoundArt, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With SoundArt, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. SoundArt is elegantly hidden behind a high-grade, textured canvas wrap, bringing together the best of sound and art. This innovative design allows for a truly invisible, high-fidelity sound experience without bulky speakers. For licensors and other businesses, we are capable of producing thousands of units per day.
We're using the highest quality materials to give you the best product available in the market. Everywhere you look, there's always art. What I like so much about SoundArt, that you could just pair it and play.
Ansia, your art never sounded so good.
Well, we get set to pick up that speed once again as we exit the road courses and get back onto the good old-fashioned ovals. And when we say old-fashioned this week, we really do mean old-fashioned. Welcome to the Lady in Black. It's the Darlington Raceway, one of the oldest tracks on the NASCAR calendar for tonight's running of the Eagle Tile 140 and race number 8 of the OMSRL Xfinity Series, sponsored by Tucson SoundArt. Hello, one and all, and welcome to the show. My name is Nolan Rempel, and tonight, it is going to be all about attrition. Darlington is always one of those racetracks that has been known to take out several competitors in the past. It is definitely going to be one of the toughest races oval-wise these drivers are going to have to tackle through the course of tonight. We're going to be getting a little bit of insight on that one from pit reporter tonight, or guest pit reporter tonight, Ryan Dingler, in just a little while. But for now, as we roll into qualifying, let's take a rundown of how your point standings shake up at the end of the race at Mid-Ohio that saw Matt Rucci claim his second back-to-back win as well as his third win of the season. He promotes himself to the top of the boards points-wise, but still shy of that 300 mark. Spencer Ray sits down in second place of the points, just 17 points behind. You look towards that ever-crucial cutoff point where Farrah Morton currently sits, just 5 points ahead of both Nathaniel Ames as well as Kevin Cordall and Brad Prenger. So it is still very, very tight for those final transfer positions up into the chase, and that is going to be one thing that these drivers are going to have to really start to put their heads together and focus up on. You've only got 2 more races after tonight. The one at Richmond International Raceway for the Carton City Performance 160, and we wrap it up at the Sergeant Junket 150 from Indianapolis Motor Speedway at the Brickyard to end things out for the regular season before we enter the chase-off at the top 12 in points are completely reset. Qualifying currently underway here from Darlington. Meanwhile, as one by one, drivers already getting set to take it around the racetrack, and we're going to look over to the likes of Jaden Porter, one of the new drivers entering tonight's race at an Ally scheme, very similar to that we used to see Matt Rucci running some time ago. And obviously, Jaden Porter, one of the new drivers in the league here tonight, making his first start for Kenner Baker Racing, but he's not the only one. Alexander Schumacher will also be making a start, so Kenner Baker Racing has picked up 2 new drivers. Michael Kenner and Jason Baker will have themselves 2 new drivers they can get set on as well. That's an interesting way to make your way around turns 1 and 2. Looking down to Spencer Ray, still on his second qualifying lap and trying to see if he can put himself any further up than 5th place. He currently sits just about 0.07 of a second off of Jaden Porter, who has gotten himself pretty secured up there in fourth place for now, with Hamilton setting the benchmark time of a 29.76. That will be an improvement for Spencer Ray. He'll move to third on the timing pylons. Matt LaValle, the last driver, currently rounded on a hot lap. It is a throwback night, so you'll be seeing a lot of these drivers with some good old throwback paint schemes. And LaValle running in the Miller Lite machine, I believe. It looks like it would have been for the early 2010s. I want to say potentially Kurt Busch or Brad Kozlowski paint scheme, but that being said, vintage paint schemes is never really one thing that I keep track of all that often, so I would not be surprised if I just threw that completely into the bin with that one. Bear Borton was the only other driver that was on the racetrack. He currently sits 10th place. There are 26 cars getting set to go racing for us here tonight, so it is a much higher field than just the 14 cars that we saw make the start at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course just 1 week ago. But only 14 cars so far have set qualifying times, and LaValle is not going to be one of those drivers, as he had gotten into the outside wall on both of his laps. He will not get the opportunity to put down some flying laps. You see him just running around the circuit, and I think just trying to get a little bit of last-minute practice in. And that last-minute practice is going to be oh so critical when it comes to races like these, and we'll get into all the details of what that could mean for these drivers in just a little while. But for now, with only a few seconds left in qualifying, it will be just over half of your field making setting down times for qualifying. So let's take a rundown of how things are going to shake up for tonight's starting grid for the Eagle Tile 140. Logan Hamilton lines it up alongside Michael Kenner on the front row. Just 12 thousandths of a second separate Kenner Baker Racing from Dirty South Racing. Spencer Ray for All-American Motorsports is in third, with Badger Racing down in fourth. Jaden Porter takes up fifth place with Jack Bolsch in sixth to round out row three. Row four holds Robert Peterson and Hunter Thrower. Jacob Noyes is in ninth for inconsistency, while Bear Morton brings up the top 10 with Grant Peterson and Kyle Munson in 11th and 12th. Moving on down, you got Brad Prenger and Justin Wilson for B&H. Matt Rucci sits in 15th after he did not set a qualifying lap. Dave Brody starts beside him in 16th. Colby Wells in 17th with Brady Weileman in 18th. Alexander Schumacher will start in 19th with Jason Green in 20th. It's going to be Stephen Purcell in 21st, Nathaniel Ames in 22nd. Matt LaValle is in 24th place. 23rd place. That'll leave Sean Kaiser and Cody Harrelson to round out tonight's 25-car field from the Darlington Raceway. So drivers still lining up on the grid. We're just waiting on three: Harrelson, Kaiser, and Wells. Want to bring up the a guest pit reporter that we have for tonight's race, Ryan Dingler, taking some time off of the racetrack to join me up here in the booth. And Dingler, you've been looking around at some of the drivers so far. You've been making the rounds around the pits. What's the overall mood so far entering tonight's race?
Yeah, Nolan, it's good to be here with you this evening. So I spoke to many of the teams, and so far the general consensus is hopefully there's not a lot of cautions, and they're basically flying by the seat of their pants. Nobody had any special strategy that they're even working on, so it sounds like most of them they're just winging it tonight.
Sounds to me like there's not much that's changed then in that regard from the usual strategies we see, especially in this opening stage, which tonight will be lasting exactly 35 laps, and we'll have a 70-lap final stage. Now, obviously, when it comes to tracks like Darlington, they do tend to be a bit more attrition-based, and it seems like everybody is assuming that this race is going to be fairly attrition-based as well. So we'll be seeing what's going to be coming on out of that throughout the rest of the 105-lap race that we've got lined up for you guys here tonight. We are rolling with the drivers coming on out of turn number 2, and the iRacing Pace truck looking nice as ever with 25 cars lined up in tow. Top 14 have set qualifying times. Everybody below them, though, going to be having to see what they'll be doing a little bit deeper into the race tonight. It tends to be one of those races you go flat out in stage 1, and then, well, stage 2 is really just let's wait and see what will happen. And whatever happens, we'll deal with it when we come down to it. Want to thank everybody for joining us here on this Thursday night for this rebroadcast of the Eagle Tile 140. Leaving it up to that iRacing starter, and Logan Hamilton enters the Geico restart zone. We're underway from Darlington. A bobble from Logan Hamilton will see him demoted down to second place as Michael Kenner says thank you very much and rockets up into the race lead to lead the opening lap of the night. You saw a couple of drivers get a little bit squirrely deeper in the field, and this week it did not take these guys long for them to get themselves sorted out. And we already have caution flag number 1. Did not take long for the yellow flag to come out here tonight, and it looks like it might have been a mess down out of turn number 2 there. We'll see if we can't back things up in just a second here and get a look as to what brought us under the yellow flag for the first time here tonight. So it'll be Kenner to lead from Hamilton, from Ray, Musati, and Bulge. We'll round out that top 5. We're going to back this up a little bit here and go down towards the rear of the field. There you see the 17 car already been out of shape. He had gotten loose out of turn number 4. Oh, and it was, I believe, Kaiser into the outside wall, and yep, that collected the 55 of Kevin Cordall. The 34 of Noyes got into that one, and that is why we are under caution flag number 1 of the night. So we will try to get a view as to what happened with that 50. Oh, sorry, that's the old 55 car, Brady Weileman, that got turned as the 48 car just pushed up middle of the corner, and not a whole lot that Jacob Noyes could do there. He was kind of left with a bit of a no man's land situation. That's why I saw so many people low. Matt LaValle is in a pit road this time by, so is Brady Weileman. And Sean Kaiser, meanwhile, appears to have been, I'm not sure, I don't think he's actually taken it to the starting grid so far, but that's an interesting call there from Sean Kaiser. He does not appear to be on the race course as of right now. That's not necessarily a good sign for his racing hopes later on throughout the course of the night. Yellow flag out for the first time today, though, and this is what we're expecting to be the first of several yellow flags for incidents over the course of the night. The way Darlington works, it's so one-lined in the corners. It is just barely wide enough for 2 cars, and that's even with 1 driver fully down on the apron, and it is not pleasant at all to try to make a pass here. And, well, actually getting word that Kaiser might have had a little bit more than just an involvement in an incident. It sounds like something even more out of his control. Ryan, you know the story behind why Kaiser's no longer on the racetrack.
Yeah, it sounds like he just had some malfunction in his system, so he ended up dropping.
Mighty unfortunate there. Technical failure for Sean Kaiser sees him currently out of the race car. Hopefully he'll be able to get back into action before too long. Cody Harrelson, the only other driver so far, has not taken it to the racetrack. Now I find that a bit interesting because Cody Harrelson was due to race at Mid-Ohio as well. And just like there, he did not qualify and never turned a lap throughout the course of the race. I'm curious as to what Cody Harrelson's deal is, but the 04 Ford Mustang will not be making a trip around Darlington today if the trend from Mid-Ohio will continue. I believe we will end up being 1 lap to green this next time by, as these guys in the background already looking to get themselves sorted. They're already starting to line up double file. They want to get going quickly, and I can't say I blame them. Darlington is a very thrilling track to drive, and it's one of those racetracks that is very, very difficult to master, but when you have hit it right, like just right, you will know, and boy, is it ever the most satisfying feeling you ever did feel. You'll just know. You can't it's very hard to actually tell by lap time. Lap time tells you a little bit. It's more the feel of the car. If you can just roll it through the center of the corner, though, that's already going to give you, you know, just such a thrilling feeling. And these drivers, no doubt, are going to be seeking out that feeling all night long. It is a unique track, an egg-shaped oval. It's much tighter in 1 and 2 as opposed to 3 and 4, which is why we're going to be seeing probably a few more passes initiated over in turn 1, as it's a bit easier to get on the binders. That is why we saw the 48 car of Justin Wilson getting muscled up and out and getting into Brady Weileman to give us our first yellow flag so far of the night. Rounding 3 and 4, Michael Kenner in his High Point Mustang, reminiscent of Ryan Newman's old number 12 car. Going to be coming on around through turns 3 and 4 as the Pennzoil machine, driven by Steve Park back in 2003, has a bit of a blinking issue. We're back to green flag racing. Musati continues to struggle with his internet. Hopefully that won't lead to anything major. As we are fully back to green flag conditions. The 49 gets into the outside wall. Spencer Ray flies through the inside. They're crashing behind. It's a big crash. Matt Rucci collected. Weileman collected again. And just like that, didn't make it a lap, and we're under the yellow flag. Gonna once more back it up, and we'll look at the replay. It started with Matt Rucci somewhere in the thick of all this. Oh, it started with Munson and one of the TI Racing drivers. Oh, that's a heavy shot to the inside and nowhere for Weileman to go. That was a tremendous impact. And something tells me Matt Rucci will not be winning the race here tonight. Gonna get another look at this one here, and we will ride on board with Weileman, see what he saw throughout all of this mess. You'll see Rucci shooting inside. All of a sudden he comes up, and where are you supposed to go in that situation? Just slammed it into the outside wall. That is absolutely unfortunate there for Brady Weileman. Yellow flag is out, and I believe it was Nate Brody that got up and into the outside wall. We will ride once more on board, this time though with Nate Brody, just to confirm my suspicions on this one, see if he actually was collected in this. You can see Munson on the bottom. Yeah, just got tight from the looks of things, and I think Colby Wells got a small piece of that as well, but my goodness, what a hit. So Rucci is going to be effectively out of the race. Nate Brody collected as well as Brady Weileman. Seems like a 3-car incident. Nobody else involved for now. Caution flag already out for the second time in less than 10 laps. We're going to take a quick step away. We'll be back with more from the Eagle Tile 140 in just a few.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
One lap to green on our second yellow flag of the night. You're riding on board the back bumper of the iRacing pace car as the 97 looks to rejoin the racing service. Robert Peterson really low on the racetrack there, but was able to, I think it was more just trying to save a little bit of fuel. That's a very common tactic that some drivers tend to use. You do use less fuel while still covering essentially the same distance from the bottom lane there. Meanwhile, we're going to come around through turns 3 and 4, and it will once again be Michael Kenner to take us back to that green flag. Going to be on lap number 12, still over 20 laps to go in stage number 1. Field's bunching up, and they're checking up in the background here as the 68 car really got out of shape there. Alexander Schumacher kind of getting caught in the middle of a sandwich where green flag racing once again, though, single filed out almost throughout the entire field by the time they hit turn 2. Onto the back straightaway for the 12th time tonight, and we're only our 4th green flag lap, which is not necessarily a good sign, but hey, hopefully we'll be having ourselves a bit of more luck a little bit later on throughout this race. Jack Bulge looking for the inside on Spencer Ray, going to be executing down in towards turn number 1 of the All-American Motorsports Go. Spending number 6 washes up the 1. Not able to stay alongside, and just look at the run that Ray's able to get off of turn 2 as a result, down the back straightaway. Further behind, Wells in the Rooftop Bar Tools 45 TI Racing Machine just got up and passed the number 68 car driven by Alexander Schumacher. Now Schumacher driving a car very reminiscent of Dale Jarrett's old 88 car. That car was sponsored by UPS. He's got BMS on his car. Swap one logo out for another, and hey, I definitely appreciate it when teams go to the extra lengths to make it look nice like that. Saw him look to the inside there of Wells, trying to take the spot back, but here comes Wells fighting back on the top shelf. This is for 11th place. Oh, look out! Wells sliding sideways down the front straightaway, still trying to wrestle it, but he brings the car back under control by the time they get off of turn number 4 and into 1. Real close call there for Colby Wells. That could have been disastrous. Gonna get a ride on board with the number 45 car as he was finding himself all sorts of cross stuff. Look as he tried to make the pass back up in 3 and 4. Gets squeezed up to the wall. Did he actually get into the wall? Nope, lost that by himself. Did a great job, though, to keep that not just out of the 68 car, but out of the inside wall as well. Focus up on the fight for third. Spencer Ray trying to maintain ground, but he is losing that ground fairly quickly as Bussati is right behind him, and you've also got Jack Bulge in the thick of things as well. So far this is not looking good for Spencer Ray as he has been dropping some pace, but this might help him out here as Jack Bulge looks to the inside of the 49 car, down to 3, and breaks just that bit later, and I think Bussati might have lifted just a touch early. Give up a bit of time just to allow for himself to be able to fight that one out another day. It is still very early in this race. We're not even 1/5 the way through. We've already had 2 cautions. I think that was enough of a kicker for some guys to start calming it down a little bit, and we can get these longer green flag runs in. This is Brody Wells and Prenger. They just both got around the number 51 car. As they hightail it back down the straightaway, and well, as that even further up the road, you've got Robert Peterson the Xfinity XFI Mustang. He's got Hunter Thrower right behind him in an old Rainbow Warrior car, and I think we can guess exactly who the driver of that machine once was, where that throwback scheme comes from. Michael Kenner, meanwhile, has pulled out over a 1.5 second gap on second place alone, so Kenner is definitely going to be the driver to beat today. Now, Michael Kenner has typically lucked out into his wins by good pitch strategies. He was helped down massively over at Rockingham. And, of course, he won a fuel mileage race at Daytona, of all places, for the season opener. Now he's trying to get a third race win of the season to match Matt Rucci's. And hopefully this time it'll be an all-out pace, and he won't be having to hope for some luck to fall his way. That car has been very, very fast all season long, and definitely hope to see that pace really pay off for him at a track where he seems to just excel at. Now, my one concern would be that he isn't necessarily saving anything right now, which could see him vulnerable later on in this run. But given the fact that we're coming to 14 laps to go in this stage, I don't think the tires are going to wear out that much to the point where it's going to be too much of a concern. But fingers crossed on that regard as we continue to watch Mussatti work to keep rookie Jaden Porter at bay. Porter slings it to the inside, washing up, almost getting into the 49 car. Completes the pass. Mussatti might not be the happiest of campers about that one, but a clean pass nonetheless. And here comes one of the other Kenner Baker Racing drivers, Robert Peterson, trying to move up past Logan Hamilton as Hamilton scrapes the outside wall through 3. And that is going to promote Robert Peterson into 6th. Mussatti's the next driver in his sights as he tries to chase down a top 5. Back of the field, 3 wide, down the front straightaway. Noyes, Prenger, and Nate Brody, all 3 abreast. Brody backed out from the inside line. Prenger was the driver that came out on top of that situation. You see on the track map, bottom right of your screens, on just how the field separation is shaken up, which is a very unusual pattern to see. We don't see this all too often. It tends to be the whole field straightens out. We've got 2 distinct passes. Got 4th on back to about 12th, and then 13th on back from there as now Noyes gets into the outside wall. He is really struggling. Noyes was struggling a lot at Mid-Ohio last week as well. By far had the most spins or off tracks than anybody else in that race, and it looks like his bad luck with that will continue over into Darlington. It's a very tough couple of racetracks, though. We go to the toughest road course over to arguably one of the toughest ovals on the circuit as well. As Anthony Mussatti has now dropped several positions, and word on the street, major loose moment there for Anthony Mussatti. Want to see if I'm going to try to see if I can back this up enough to the point where I can see what actually happened here to the number 49 car. There goes, got into the outside wall in turn 3 and 4, sorry, turn 2, and had to wrangle that thing all the way down the back straightaway. Did a fine job on bringing that car back under control. Shout out again to our pit reporter for catching that one, as now it's thrown into the outside wall. Peterson goes through into the top 5. Behind them, Rucci making a pass on Barron Morton, as well as Peterson getting a pass. Hamilton's now into the outside wall. A lot of drivers already struggling with that outside wall, and they are having a rough time on trying to keep themselves in check here. And you have to wonder if sooner or later that's going to be the cause of our next yellow flag. It doesn't take too much at a track like Darlington. Rucci's making a peek to the inside of Peterson. He's going to commit to this one. He's a bit far back, but he's going to send it in regardless. The Napa Auto Parts Supra going to hold firm on the outside lane, and it's a drag race down the front straightaway. Matt Rucci holding the bottom with Barron Morton just watching and waiting in the wings, seeing if anybody's going to mess up, and there is a mistake. Peterson flips the outside wall just barely. Rucci clears it. That's a crossover 10 for the 52. Nothing doing, though. Mussatti to the outside wall again in the background. Meanwhile, Barron Morton tries to fend off Logan Hamilton from behind. For such a one-line racetrack, there is a lot going on at any given point, and that's one of the reasons why I personally love Darlington. It might be one of the most one-line racetracks you can get out there on the iRacing service, but it is still an absolute blast to watch because these guys have to run so close to the outside wall. And a little tidbit, when I was looking up, some fun facts about the Darlington Speedway about a year ago, found out that it turns out that banking was never the intended racing surface. Oh, Morton slides out, and he'll gather it back up. Getting back to it, though, I mean, that banking used to actually be part of us. It was actually more to help the car slow down if they got sideways. It was actually supposed to be all that flat stuff down there that was supposed to be the racing surface. And technically, that is still technically the racing surface to this very day. But it didn't take a lot of people to realize, oh, hey, I could go faster running the banking. And, well, rest is history. I like the fact that they could have corrected that at any time, but if they did that, that would have taken away all of the appeal that Darlington had. It would have taken away the challenge. It would have taken away the racing. And that is what has provided us with what has been so far a stellar event throughout the opening 30 or so laps. Hamilton power slides it out of turn 2. He'll look to the inside of Grant Peterson. Dead even. Peterson trying to pinch the Dirty South Racing driver in. And Hamilton forced to yield. Peterson out-drags him from the top shelf. And now Musati wants to follow suit. So Hamilton went from trying to get up to one to losing one. Bump and run for Barry Morton as the 9 car gets nice and personal with the number 12 car there out of turn number 2, and I think Hamilton's burned all of his stuff up as he is just losing spot after spot. He's just lost 3, just 2 laps. Morton on the move to the inside of Musati. Into 1, washing up. Don't put the 49 into the outside wall. He keeps it out, but another bobble from the 49. Sees the number 9 car get all sorts of crossed up. All of this battling, by the way, has allowed for a second rookie of the race, Alexander Schumacher, to close on in. And he no doubt wants to pick up some stage points before the end of this stage. How loose these cars are getting, though, it's a question of, are we even going to make it to the end of the stage? We're going to be coming around to the final lap of stage number 1 here in just a moment. Musati still up top from Barry Morton, and they know they're starting that last lap of stage number 1, this time by little scrape to the outside wall. Morton's committing on Anthony Musati. Oh, he scrapes the outside wall out of 4. That's going to hamper his momentum as we fire back down to the turn for the last time. Musati throws it in. There's the crossover from Barry Morton. Sweeps to the inside. He'll pick up 9th place. Michael Kenner, meanwhile, will exit turn number 4, and it'll be the High Point 98 car to take up stage win for stage 1 here of the night. Logan Hamilton battled it out with Schumacher for the first spot outside of stage points. Morton trying to get to Peterson. Nothing doing. Peterson will somehow hang on to 9th. And the competition caution for stage number 1 will fly. And with that, we'll take a brief step away. Michael Kenner is your stage 1 winner. We'll be back in a few.
SoundArt introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of 2 products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. SoundArt ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
under our first stage caution of the night, and Michael Kenner leads the field down into pit road. As what a way to wrap up stage number 1 for us then here tonight, as Kenner pulls it into the box. No nothing special so far being done strategy-wise from the looks of things, as Hamilton pulls in right in front of the number 98 car. Tell you what, it's an interesting run there that Logan Hamilton had. He was the pole sitter, which, you know, you'd think that would mean he would be the one running away with it, but that's what happens when you're only hot lap and you don't tend to do much else from there. Meanwhile, as we are in the midst of stage number 1, going to see if we can't dial up your stage 1 winner, and going to chat here with Michael Kenner, the stage 1 winner of the night. And Michael, it's been a solid run for you so far tonight. You have had a lot of pace. You won that stage by just about a second. So does it look like you'll be winning this race on pace tonight?
I mean, I don't think we have the true contenders up here yet. Jaden, I know, is really fast on the end of the run. Matt's going to be coming, as he always is. And then I feel like once the run goes on, I just killed my right front. I got to get better at saving that right front this run if I want a chance. I feel like Jack was coming at the end there. I just got to get better at the long run. I think I could have a chance.
With how volatile of a track Darlington can be, apart from the obvious tire problem that I think a lot of these guys can be struggling with, what do you reckon might be some of the hurdles that might need to be overcame if you want to go and put yourself in victory lane for the 3rd time on the season tonight?
Restarts is going to be a big thing if we do end up powering up a lot. I feel like restarts are crucial. And then just avoiding the wall. That's the biggest thing around here. Can't hit that wall if I want a chance. Hitting the wall once could end my night. So I'd be careful with that. I feel like if I do good on restarts and do good at not hitting the wall, I'll be fine. And then tire saving as well. That's the biggest thing, I think.
Well, no Darlington stripes yet for the number 98 car. Hopefully you'll be keeping that right side clean. Before I let you go, then anybody you'd like to shout out for that number 98?
Jaden, he's making his debut for the team tonight, as well as Alex. And Brady, he had a rough race tonight, but shout out to them.
Thank you for joining us up here, and best of luck throughout the rest of the race.
Yeah, thank you.
It's Michael Kenner for Kenner Baker Racing joining us here after he got himself 10 stage points for winning the opening stage. We are 1 lap to green. LaValle and Brody both made extra trips down to pit road just to try and Matt's trying to fix up some of the damage to avoid having to use that fast repair. But with a race like Darlington, damage is never too far away, so it's one of those things where unless you absolutely have to, it is typically a good move to hold that off until your last expected pit stop on the night. That being said, though, if you're going to only be losing time by not taking it, then, well, it might just be worth your while. Pace car is down and in. We get set to go racing once more. Michael Kenner enters the Geico restart zone, and we're back to green. Trouble in the background. 2 cars into the inside wall. One of them is Jason Green. The other is Brad Prenger, but no caution. We stay green. A big crash, though, on the back straightaway sees Jason Green and Brad Prenger slam into the infield or into the inside wall. Gonna look at how this incident transpired. Was there a bit of help? Nope, looked like the 51 just came off the wall and got into the 17 and sent both of those cars slamming face first into the inside safer barriers. Michael Kenner led the first laps back to green, but he has got Jack Bulch hot on his heels, and here comes Matt Rucci. Rucci already up in a third as he's plus 12 from where he started after he started down in 15th at the start of the night. In the background, more trouble. Oh, and Peterson gets drilled. And again, no caution. No yellow flag so far. Peterson's going to reverse it up, and now the yellow flag will fly. I have a feeling it's a bit of a forced yellow, but you can see Peterson is absolutely junked. That 52 car crabbing like there's no tomorrow. Michael Kenner still your race leader as we are under yellow flag conditions for the first time today. I want to look back to the incident between Jason Green and Brad Prenger and see what actually happened to start that one off, because we were kind of blocked by the billboards on that one angle. Yeah, it looked like he just clipped the wall and just came off it a little bit, and that's what sent him down into the inside wall. Might have just panicked a little bit on the initial restart as there's nothing that Green did wrong there. You can't really do much else in that situation. You're on the bottom. You left him room. I mean, what are you really supposed to do in that type of situation? Now let's see what brought out this yellow flag. Grant Peterson. Oh, it was Mussadi. Mussadi onto the outside wall, and then it was Brody to run over Peterson, and then I think that was LaValle that got big time into the back of the number 52 car. So I'm going to try to back us up a little bit further on this one because I want to see if we can find out what actually happened to Anthony Mussadi. I think he just got a bit too wide, though, and went and clipped the outside wall. That's exactly what happened. You see him come off there, and then Peterson gets airborne with the front end. That obviously checks him up, and then, yeah, just nowhere again for LaValle to go. Going to right on board with the number 52 car. Yeah, a little hop. A skip, and around she goes. Oh, man. Yeah, there's just not a whole lot you can do in that situation. We're going to look with Matt LaValle. This would be the second instance where he was left with just nowhere to go, and yeah, there's just, you're just stuck in that situation. There is absolutely nothing that you can do to get out of that situation. Prenger, Mussadi, LaValle, Peterson, Noyes, and Wilson all came down to pit road this last time by. Michael Kenner continues to hold the race lead. From there, you got Bulch, Rucci, Porter, Thrower, Morton, Hamilton, Schumacher, Peterson, and Ray to round out your top 10 drivers. Kyle Munson going to be making an interesting call to enter pit road for a second time. Not sure if he came down the last time around. In fact, it did not. So Kyle Munson just making an interesting call to come into pit road on the second run through. Ryan, you're a driver, obviously, and I don't tend to race all that much myself anymore. What do you make of that call?
He could be going down pit road just to get to the back of the field and kind of get out of the bird's nest. But he could also be just topping her off because with all these cautions, you never know.
Well, it looks like he did take that fast repair, so it might have been a mixture of both. Get a bit of the damage repaired and top off on fuel, get put to the back of the field so you don't have to really risk a lot of the chaos that could come up from being up in front. The only problem I would say with that strategy is basically all of the cautions we've had have been coming from the back of the field. So if something happens back there, you're going to be right in the thick of it. So we'll see how that will pan out for Kyle Munson. But fast repair taken, so he will have a brand new car when we get around this time around. And back into pit lane. So this time it's definitely just a top up on fuel, and there's no doubting that anymore. And in fact, he didn't actually take the fast repair. You can actually still see. Couldn't really see from the last angle with the paint or the color scheme on that car, but he does have some right front damage still on the front end of that Team Losi number 8 Ford Mustang. So I think it's just coming on down to gradually get some damage fixed while simultaneously want to just top up on fuel. It's not a bad strategy, especially if you plan on going to the back in the first place. So we'll see how that will pan out. No doubt a couple more drivers will probably end up utilizing that strategy if we get a few more cautions before the end of this race. Around turns 3 and 4. And once again, Michael Kenner going to be taking us back to the green flag. A bit of an early bump there from Matt Rucci, but no jump start as we're back to green flag. And immediately Bulge is going to look to attack the outside of Matt Rucci. That's going to get tight, though. He's going to just tuck in line out of turn 2, down the back straightaway. Close call for Bulge as he can cut Matt Rucci a little bit of slack there. Out of turn 4, down the front straightaway. Peterson going up against Colby Wells and Nate Brody, a couple of the TI Racing drivers. Wells into the outside wall, still into the outside wall. And now Brad Prenger's going around again. Can they hang on to it? It looks like they might just be able to. 3 wide down the back straightaway. We're not out of the woods just yet. Jacob Noyes really low on the racetrack. But he's going to get back up, and we are smooth sailing once again. Very, very close call there for Colby Wells, though. We'll look to see. Yeah, get to the outside wall there twice, and then Brad Prenger is tipped by Grant Peterson. He collects the outside wall, and somehow that isn't the yellow flag. Very easily could have escalated to one, though, so that's some mighty fine car control considering how tight of a racetrack Darlington is. Looking at Morton, Peterson, Brody, all running line astern. Looking for the inside is the 97 car. And drifting up, pardon the voice crack, out of turn number 4 down the front straightaway, and now spot made for Robert Peterson. Morton looked to enter a bit tighter than laps previously, but it wasn't enough to be able to properly go for the over-under. Looks like Robert Peterson has got that move, or that pass to stick. A little bit further behind now, Morton gets up into the outside wall for just a brief moment. That will hold him up into the clutches of Nate Brody as we continue to work our way around the Darlington Raceway. Trouble for Justin Wilson as he gets crossed up out of turn number 4, and now it's green into the outside wall. There's a lot going on at the moment on the racetrack, and I have to say I'm a bit surprised at just how eventful of a race this has been. We're going to look to see what happened to Wilson. This is going to be out of turn 4, although we're going to be backing it up a little bit further all the way to when they enter turn 3. Throws it in underneath the 61, who had just got to the outside wall. Oh, it was already Jason Green going around off of turn number 4, and then the 61 just gets it to Wilson. That sends Wilson into the outside wall. And then Jason Green immediately gets into the outside wall a second time. Matt Rucci closing in the gap on Michael Kenner. Trying to get up there to Jack Bulch. Also got Logan Hamilton, Spencer Ray. That battle looking to be picking on up. Hamilton gets into the outside wall. That lets Spencer Ray through. And it looks like Stefan Purcell just opened up the door for Matt LaValle and let the number 61 car go to the inside, entering turn number 3. Going to focus up now on this fight for the lead between Kenner, Rucci, and Bulch. Jaden Porter also sort of in the mix. Same with Hunter Throw, but it really is down between the top 3 for the time being, as Michael Kenner said that he was a bit worried about his late run pace. Said he needed to learn how to conserve some tires, and it looks like he has not quite figured that out, as Matt Rucci has been steadily reeling him in lap after lap. We compare the lap times, 0.03 of a second faster the last time by. A little look to the inside that time by. From Matt Rucci, no move made though. He decided to tuck back in line and hang on. Just be a little bit more patient here. We're past halfway, by the way, in the Eagle Tile 140. Again, another 0.07 of a second fast that time for Matt Rucci. The thing is, especially when it comes to Darlington, catching is one thing, passing is very much another. You know, there are some tracks where I'll be willing to make a move, even if I'm not 100% certain of myself. Particularly the much wider mile and a half, Michigan Auto Club maybe. But when it comes to a track like Darlington, you don't really want to risk a move like that, especially this early, until you are absolutely certain that you're going to be able to pull it off and make it stick. Or at the very least, you're not going to wash up into the guy you're trying to pass. Colby Wells looks like he got a little bit loose out of turn number 4. He was really low on the racetrack, and in fact he was. Cranked that wheel left. While that was going on, Robert Peterson got up and past the number 12 car of Logan Hamilton. That being said, Hamilton's not exactly going away, though, which is, I think, what Robert Peterson might appreciate right about now, is to add a bit more breathing room, but I know Logan Hamilton is not one of those drivers that's about to give you any. Brad Prenger, whoa, getting close and nearly running over Nathaniel Ames on the engine to turn 1. I think it's safe to say that Prenger thinks he's faster and he's going to look to the inside down the back straightaway. This will be for 16th. He's not able to really throw it in, though, like I thought he might. Makes perfect use of the exit, and Prenger is through. Jason Green is coming to pit road. He is the first driver to take green flag service so far tonight. So as Green finds himself in a pit road, I think it's about high time that we compare what the pit strategy has been so far for the top 15, or it's not going to be a whole lot to look at for the time being, as a lot of these guys really did just take the good old strategy of just run till the stage ends and figure it out from there. But you can see 26 laps already on the stint. We know these guys can go at least 37. I wonder if Jason Green may be opting for a strategy to move a little bit further down the line, and maybe, I think that's what he's doing. He's only been out there for 19 laps, so he definitely could have been out there for longer. I wonder, maybe he got some extra damage that he couldn't have figured out, or potentially wanting to pit early so he can find himself a bit further towards the end. But judged by how long he's been in pit road, I'm willing to bet it's a repair job. Nathaniel Ames currently hitting pit road. He takes a 15-second pit stop as Jacob Noyes now gets all sorts crossed up out of 2. Gap is closed down between Matt Rucci and Michael Kenner. Once again, it is down to just over now a quarter of a second. So it looks like the number 98 car might not be as secure as he might be hoping for. It's been a fairly clean last few laps while we were on that crank it up. Barron Morton made a pass on Abe Brody for 11th. Wilson passed Noyes for 18th, and Purcell passed Ames for 20th place, but nothing really impacting the overall points as it would turn out. Spencer Ray trying to close up meanwhile on Hunter Thrower. We continue to work our way around the Darlington Raceway, and I have to say it's been a race. It has very much been a race. As Ray continues to close up on Hunter Thrower, we look forward to Richmond International Raceway, and boy, what a race we've had there for the last little while in the A-Class Series, as well as in real world when NASCAR went there. 160 laps around that 3/4 of a mile oval, where it'll be the Kart City Performance 160. It's hard to believe we're already over halfway through the season, and we are just 2 weeks away from starting the chase. Grant Peterson going to take it down to pit road. And it looks like Colby Wells is in as well, as is Brad Prenger. So here it is. Officially, green flag pit stops kicking off. And looks like 7th place driver Robert Peterson will be in as well. As is Schumacher. Thrower, meanwhile, under fire by Spencer Ray down to turn 3. Spencer Ray finds a hole. He'll sweep through, and Hunter Thrower having to hang on, but look out for the 57 car on the inside line. Stefan Purcell on fresh tires wants to find a way through. Matt Rucci, 3-time winner and back-to-back winner, is now into the lane. And Matt Rucci is into pit road, but this time it might be for a little bit more than just running out of fuel. Ryan, why don't you walk us through what the strategy behind that is for a short pit there from Rucci?
Yeah, I just spoke to Rucci here before he pit, and he tells me he could get up to the leader, but once he gets to him, he just can't get around him. Kenner's a little too quick, and there's just not enough real estate for him to get around him, so that's why you saw him ended up backing off the lead a little bit, and I guess you see here he's short pitting to try to undercut the leader and maybe try to get ahead.
Trying to get ahead, but has been sitting in that pit road for a very, very long time, so I'm willing to bet possibly a penalty. I would no bet speed on entry since he was trying to make up the time, as our pit reporter Ryan Dingler for today just pointed out. Thrower, Hamilton all into pit road. And for reference, Rucci was in the pits for 55 seconds, so instead of actually coming on out on top of this thing, it looks like he's actually going to be coming out on the lower end of things, and he's going to be finding himself in the very unfortunate position of actually being a lap down. We're 25 laps to go. Thrower is into pit road. Botch strategy, could that potentially save Michael Kenner from going laps down? Kenner didn't come down and pit in the meantime. He is now a lap down with, along with Justin Wilson and Jacob Noyes, who have also come down and pit themselves. We'll see how this is going to shake up for Kenner. Oh, it might not turn out too. Oh, he's into the outside wall! Michael Kenner into the outside wall, and he's going to go around in 4. No yellow flag, but Michael Kenner wiped out by the situation he had nothing to do with. And he is going to pull it in. That is unfortunate for Michael Kenner. It was Jacob Noyes, got to the outside wall. Kenner scrambled to avoid, and he immediately was just sent down and into the inside wall. That is so unfortunate. Right on board out of turn 2, down the back straightaway. There was no yellow flag for this. You'll see Jacob Noyes wash up. Wall, Kenner cranks it left, and oh, I don't think that actually had anything to do with getting loose. I think that was a whole separate incident, completely out of his control there for Michael Kenner. But boy, what a massive, massive shame there. He was doing so well. That's just opened the door for who could win this race, though, wide open. And speaking of drivers that used to have chances, we mentioned already that Rucci potentially had a penalty going on. And, well, Ryan Dingler, you've got more information on this one.
So, yeah, upon entering pit road, it was a pit line commitment or a commitment line violation by Mr. Rucci.
We don't see that too often from iRacing, but they do have some tracks where if you enter too late, you are absolutely going to have that bested for you. I'm going to see if I can actually back up and try to find that now that you bring that up. I want to see if can potentially find the incident in question that you're referencing. We're going to look on board. Well, he's already in pit road here, so going to back this up a little bit further.
But he tells me that he didn't realize that it was even there.
Oh, yeah.
He missed it right there.
Yeah, you and I just both saw it, and yeah, missed it by a country mile on that one.
That's unfortunate.
I think, Ryan, you can attest to the fact that we have the same commitment line in the league that we run as well, and you've been subject to that penalty a little more than once.
I have, especially exit.
Oh, yes. So meanwhile, we are all sorted for the time being as Spencer Ray is into pit row. Bear Morton just now takes over the race lead. Jacob Noyes also into pit row. Bear Morton is still up there, but or as is Kyle Munson, but I think at the end of the day, it'll be Musatti who will cycle through to take over the race lead when all is said and done. I'm not sure if your top 3 have come down and pit yet. Taking a look at this one, and in fact, no, they're not. In fact, the top 4 have a pit, so Musatti is also due for a pit stop. But that being said, actually, well, maybe he's not. Musatti pit on the first 8 laps of this stint. Bulge pit 8 laps ago, so I think maybe some of these guys have actually been knowing something a bit more than we haven't, and they've actually been able to pit extra late. So that's intriguing. We don't see that all too often, so I think that actually might just be it. It looks like Bear Morton will be the last driver we're actually waiting on to come down to pit road, and maybe Munson, but I highly doubt that one. Meanwhile, Bear Morton is wanting to run this thing out dry. "16 laps to go, and still on the longest green flag run we've had so far tonight." We're going to take a quick step away. We'll be back with more in just a few. Still under green flag conditions, and rumor is that Anthony Mussatti is not safe to the end of this race. He will have to stop at least one more time. Meanwhile, sure enough, we did in fact see Barrett Morton come down pit road. Jack Balch, it's a big fat question mark for the number 23 car. As we continue to run down the laps, Justin Wilson also made a recent pit stop. Still 12 laps left to go from this race. Jack Balch trying to get around Barrett Morton to put him a lap down. Caught in a little bit of no man's land while Alexander Schumacher going up against Grant Peterson right on the back bumper into turn 1 in the battle for 9th and 10th. Grant Peterson dropping a lot of spots as well. And there it is. Anthony Mussatti couldn't make it. The 49 Pennzoil machine is back to pit road. LaValle. Oh, hello. Oh, trouble. Oh, whoa. Big crash. Matt LaValle is caught up in a big, big way. What in the world just happened there? Looking back on the yellow flag for this one, as might have been given a help there, but then just got hooked in the wall, and well, that's all she wrote, really. I'm a bit confused, to be completely honest with you. I'm not sure what to make of that one. As Kyle Munson, I think, had just gotten up and into the outside walls. You had heard a bit of a crunch in the background as well. Trying to see if I can back that up to find that. And it was Kyle Munson that went into the wall, and, well, there goes LaValle. Well, this has just turned the entire race up on its head. Jack Balch comes to pit road, and I'm expecting a good chunk of drivers to come down with them. These guys were good to go to the end of the race, but now I think they're going to be wanting to come on in just to get some fresh rubber, unless you want to be a madman and be Grant Peterson and stay out. Peterson stays out. He will inherit the race lead. Everybody else on the lead lap came on in. So Peterson will be restarting here about 20 laps fewer than the guys behind him did. I have to say, you don't often see drivers making radical decisions like that one late in the race. You see it sometimes, but, you know, if everybody else is pitting, especially with 8 laps to go, especially for tires, Ryan, you would assume you'd come down with them. But you know Grant better than I do, and we both know he can be unorthodox from time to time. So with Peterson up there and Balch down in second, this could prove...
I do apologize.
Oh, there we go. Now you're here. I kind of wonder what happened there.
Yeah, so knowing Grant like I do, him staying out, I know he's on old tires, but I feel like he's assuming that there's going to be a lot of cautions. You got everyone bunched back up now. Very few laps left, so I think he's trying to salvage. He's been running like 13th all race. I feel like he's just trying to salvage what he can here by staying out.
I mean, it might not be all that wrong. I mean, look at how the first 10 laps panned out, and then it did get to be green for a good little while, but obviously those first 10 laps can be the last 10 laps can be much more devastating than the last 10, especially at a track as tight as Darlington. Late race cautions are not entirely an uncommon thing in racing, but you don't see them a whole lot at a track that's as tight as this one. And you know what? I'm feeling spicy today, so I'm going to ask you outright. With this in mind, going green, less than 10 to go, what do you reckon the odds are we're going to overtime here?
I feel like we're going to overtime. I'm gonna say it's a good chance. I don't know the exact over under here, but I think it's a good chance we're gonna have at least one, maybe two.
I think I'm gonna hop on that bandwagon with you, and we'll see how this will shake on up as we continue to work our way through the race tonight. Outside line looks like is being selected for Grant Peterson, as drivers now get waved around the iRacing Pace truck. Even bolder strategy, just when you thought it couldn't get much worse. Now that being said, it sometimes can be good to go on the outside line on restarts if you're on old rubber, but given the fact that this is an outside lane racetrack, I wouldn't say it'd be a wise move here. I think better would have just been to restart on the bottom if you intended on letting these guys through. So
I don't think he's going to let him through.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't sound like
he's going to try to race him. If he can clear him into turn one, he can drop down, apex the corner.
Quite possibly. So let's.
Or he's going to cause the next caution.
One of the two. It'll be one of the two.
One of the two.
We know he's not letting them go, though. That much is certain.
He's definitely not going to let him go.
Into the Geico restart zone. Grant Peterson up top. Jack Bulch on the bottom. Back to green, and he did not get the jump he was hoping for. He will not be able to clear them by the time they get into turn number one, and they fan out about as much as you can. Wreck it already. Look out, Wells going around. He saves it way in the background, still trying to hang on to it. Oh, now Peterson's going around. Peterson hard at the inside wall. Wells is around, and it's an airborne wreck now for the 97 car, almost up and over. LaValle is involved. And a big, Wilson involved. Well, I think that's it. I think that's going to be overtime now. Unfortunate for Peterson, though, didn't hang on to that lead for as long as he was hoping for. Going to get a replay up on your screens here. Robert Peterson just going around all by himself and slamming into the inside wall, and then just got nailed by Justin Wilson. Nathaniel Ames also got collected. Meanwhile, Colby Wells was already a little bit loose, and I think he just lost control by himself and then got a bit of help from Brad Prenger, who had gotten into the outside wall. Tell you what, you want to see a good view from this wreck. Well, let's take a look at what Nathaniel Ames saw in his machine. If I can find him at least, I'm trying to. There we are. Let's see what the 28 car saw throughout all this. Let's get a mighty fine view of the undercarriage there of the number 97 car. But we're under the yellow flag, 6th time today, and this time it's going to send us to a green-white checkered finish. Don't go away. Lots of action yet to be had in the final 2 laps of the Eagle Tile 140. We'll be back for the green.
SoundArt introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of 2 products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. SoundArt ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality Permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped, custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
One lap to green, and it is green-white checkered attempt number 1, and Wells is into the outside wall. This is now the 3rd week in a row where we've had incidents under the yellow flag. Road courses, somewhat understandable. There was some incidents that will go unmentioned at Chicagoland, and then I think Wells just collected the outside wall here. It's a bit interesting that. I think it might have just not been focusing on the looks of things while Brad Pringer was trying to get himself focused up. 2 laps to go, though, from the Darlington Raceway in the Eagle Tile 140. Jack Bulge going to be in control with rookie Jaden Porter. Porter's going to be really trying to anticipate this start. Wouldn't that be something? You go for a rookie start and you immediately get your first win in your first race as well. Michael Kenner did it at Daytona. It's not out of the realm of possibility for Jaden Porter to follow suit. Restart zone time it is. Jack Bulge leads us away. A much better jump than Peterson had on the last run, and he is clear by the time they get to turn number 1. 3 wide in the background. That's not going to work at all. There it is. Munson going into the wall, and well, Brody's around, Rooch is around, Peterson's into the wall. 1 car up and over. It's Grant Peterson flipping back up into traffic. Wilson spins to avoid him, and we're going into double overtime. Grant Peterson caught in the catch fencing there. In the midst of all that, a tremendous wreck. That's got to be one of the biggest crashes airborne-wise we have seen so far all season long. Attempt number 2, and this was not terribly surprising. And prior to this race, we were taking bets as to how many yellow flags we were going to get. Well, we just hit our pit reporter's estimation of 7. Look to the replay and see what happened for this one, but I think we all know what happened for this one. Into the outside wall goes Munson and Moore. As Grant Peterson just got kicked up and over. That was a wild wreck, and Justin Wilson just barely avoided that, and he actually had a pretty good save to just keep that thing out of the inside wall. Take another look at this one. We'll have to get a look at this one from the air to properly dissect everything, but you can see them all scramble to the bottom. Oh, man. And, well, I don't think I need to say anything about that one. That's just 2 drivers trying to get going at the same time, and it doesn't quite go according to plan. Let's take a look at this one actually from the air, and we'll back it up just a wee bit further on this one and see how this whole thing pans out. A little bit further. There we go. You can see Munson in the middle. Thrower really sending on the bottom. That sent Munson up into Peterson. They got to the outside wall, putting the 4 wide for a brief moment. That's all well and good, but then it was Brody that got into the 8. That sent him shooting the inside. Colby Wells just barely avoided that. Prenger got involved. You see Peterson gets into there, and he goes into the inside wall, and then it was Grant Peterson, I think, got caught in the wall and then just got flipped up into the air, flipped wildly right back up into traffic. And we're going to get a look on board with Justin Wilson here in a moment. But you're going to see he already had that thing locked down, just trying to avoid him, and unfortunately for him, just looped it as a result. Man, that is a ride and a half, though, for these guys. Let's look on board with Justin Wilson and watch this develop in front of him. Whoops, and around he goes. Did a good job, though, to back it down. Credit to him, and keep it out of that inside wall. Now we will get a ride on board here with Colby Wells. Right behind the mess. Sees it happening, checks up, and there goes her teammate. And we're under the yellow flag then for the 7th time today, but a wild crash then. That has eliminated Wilson, Peterson, the other Peterson. That's a tough break for all of those drivers. They were having a good run, and unfortunately it just didn't pan out the way they were hoping. Matt Rucci back out onto the lead lap now, by the way, and not without a hood on his car, but props to him. He's still out there on the racetrack. He's not throwing in the towel just yet. Second attempt then at a green-white checkered finish. We get a total of 3, and at the end of the 3rd attempt, if we don't make it back to the white flag, the race ends under caution. Now, from my understanding, there has not been a race in a very, very long time in the OMSRL that has had these races finish under the yellow flag. Hoping that we don't have this one finish up under the yellow flag either. I want to see this race play right out down to the checkered flag. Pace car is off, and Bulch on the pedal. Porter immediately moves a bit lower to try and cover off Spencer Ray. Smart move. Ray tries to throw it into turn 1, but no space for that to be a hole. Jack Bulch is clear by 3. This could be the end of it. Oh, into the outside wall, and there goes Wells. Colby Wells slams the inside wall, rebounds up, yellow flag again. We're not out of the woods yet. Colby Wells forces another caution. And we will once again look and see how this transpired. Colby Wells just got up into the outside wall and came right down across Bear Borton's nose. He hit the inside wall, and wow, okay, that's... I'm not really one for wanting to force a yellow flag on purpose. We saw a couple of the guys make really questionable moves to do that earlier in this race. That's a bit more blatant, if you ask me. Just lift it off the brakes and let the car roll. But regardless, we are on yellow flag number 8. And as we continue to make trips around the iRacing Pace Truck, want to throw it back to you again for this one, actually, here, Ryan, on this one, because what kind of goes through your head? I mean, you know this is the last attempt. You know if there's another caution, the race is over regardless of where you are. Does that make you even more aggressive on this restart in particular?
As a driver, it really depends on the person, the type of person that they are. Because as you know, we've got several different types of drivers, and some of them, this is going to make them much more aggressive. To try to get as many spots as they can, thinking that there's probably going to be another yellow that ends the race, regardless if they cause it or not. But then some of them may try to back off in hopes of finishing. So we may end up with a caution here to finish this race, just based off of what's transpired in the last closing laps.
Had one of the one of the yellow flags come out as a result of car-to-car contact in the middle of 1 and 2. This one, though, was just Colby Wells way over driving turn 2, and he got up into the outside wall. And obviously, you know, if you're Bear Borton, I mean, what are you really supposed to do in that sort of situation? Actually going to look on board with Bear Borton here and see what he saw throughout that whole mess. He was the one that did turn Wells. 45 up top. I mean, you just can't react in time.
Nothing you can do in that situation.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you get trapped in a hole like that, I mean, you can't go anywhere. You're on a restart yourself. You're racing, and it's right in front of you, quite literally like a foot away from your face. I mean, you just kind of have to hope that you don't go around with him. And Morton, I think, escaped that one without too much damage. And, well, Wells, he paid for his own mistake in that incident for sure. It's really scattered out TI Racing as a whole. I mean, usually we're used to seeing them kind of run more or less together, but you've got Bulch leading. And I believe the next closest driver is actually Nate Brody and Colby Wells, both running 14th and 15th place as the last cars on the lead lap, as both of them have been involved in the last two cautions to bring us to this final overtime attempt. Believe one to go this time by for Jack Bulch. In fact, it is, and there goes Matt LaValle. He'll take off into the distance to drag himself back around, but obviously being 11 laps down, he's not going to gain anything by staying out there. I imagine he's just going to take it easy here. He's got no need to push. I think he just wants to finish the race at this point. I mean, hey, you've come this far, you may as well tough out the last two if you can make it. It's going to get wild here as we still have at least 15 cars out on the racetrack, and all of them just as hungry as the last to go for a race win. Jack Bulch on the inside line. Porter up top. Final attempt at a green-white checker finish to the restart zone. Back underway. Couple of cars snaked to the inside as we thunder down into turns 1 and 2 for the penultimate time today. Will anybody go sideways? Oh, Porter's outside wall, but he's going to hang on. That lets Hamilton and Ray through into second and third as Porter falls to fourth, but we are out of the final corner this time by, and we will make it to the white flag. This race finishes under green. Further behind, thrower almost into the outside wall. Look out for the 68 car getting sideways. Mavrucci trying to make up some ground. Bulch is losing time to Logan Hamilton. Hamilton's going to send it into turn number 3. Can he get to the back bumper and go for the bump and run? No time, no room. Jack Bulch is a winner at Darlington as he takes the Eagle Tile 140 off of turn number 4. What a way to finish off tonight's race. That was absolutely insane in the closing laps. Hamilton sure gave him a run for his money, but just was not able to make it happen. So with the last drivers now across the start-finish line, I'm going to take a rundown of your official post-race results here tonight from the Darlington Raceway. It's Jack Bulch taking the race win by under 0.2 of a second over Logan Hamilton. Spencer Ray sits down there over in third. It's going to be Jaden Porter in fourth with Hunter Thrower in fifth. Bear Morton was in sixth with Anthony Musati in seventh. Kyle Munson sits in eighth with Matt Rucci in ninth. Stefan Purcell rounds out the top 10. Brad Prenger, Nathaniel Ames, and Alexander Schumacher were the last drivers on the lead lap. From there you have Colby Wells, Jacob Noyes, Nate Brody, Robert Peterson, Grant Peterson. And rounding out the field is Matt LaValle, Justin Wilson, Michael Kenner, Jason Green, Brady Weileman, Sean Kaiser, and Cody Harrelson did not make the call for the starting grid. What a race then tonight from the Darlington Raceway. That is exactly what we like to see in a finish. Nice and clean, and Jack Bulch is the race winner here tonight. We're going to get a chance to talk with your race winner then here tonight. Jack, it was certainly quite the race for you. What was it like for you going through all of those Greenwood checkered attempts and every time having any advantage you had neutralized?
Yeah, that I was not looking forward to that. That lasted a little bit longer than I wanted it to. I wanted that to go green once I got the track position off of the others making mistakes. But you know, executed those restarts pretty well. Cut it a little bit close there at the end. I was very conservative and gave whoever was in second a little bit closer shot at winning.
So for you, I mean, obviously when it comes down to races like these, Darlington is far from the easiest track, and you yourself were kind of a little bit all over the place, but you managed to move up 5 spots and take yourself a race win then here tonight. Why don't you walk us through what it was like for you, having to work over those challenges and what really helped you to get it done tonight then?
Yeah, Darlington's actually one of my favorite tracks. I really enjoy this place, especially in the long runs. I think I was probably the third fastest. Matt Rucci and Michael Kenner were obviously faster than me, but I think I could keep up with them, and then capitalizing on their mistakes is what really did it. And then executing those restarts, I guess.
And when we go racing again, it will be at Richmond. We slow it back down. It'll be another short track, another track just as challenging pretty much as Darlington. Where does that track sit for you? Are you looking forward to it, or are you going to be more hoping that that race is just gone in the wind?
Richmond's my home track. I actually enjoy Richmond as well, and I would assume it's probably going to be worse than what this was, just because it's a short track. But I mean, I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully we can make it 2 in a row.
Hopefully it'll be 2 in a row indeed for the Rooftop Bar Tools Chevrolet. Before we let you go, anybody you'd like to shout out for your TI Racing number 23?
Yeah, I just got to thank Chris Lewis, TI Racing, and Asheville Rooftop Bars for everything they do.
And thank you for taking the time to join us here tonight from Victory Lane. Congratulations, Jack. Best of luck next week at Richmond.
All right, thanks, guys.
That was your race winner, Jack Bulge, joining us up here from Victory Lane. We're going to move on up to Logan Hamilton, the runner-up. And Hamilton was really charging off after Jack Bulge in those closing stages, but unfortunately was not meant to be tonight. Logan, why don't you walk us through what those last 2 laps was like for you?
It was fun. Sorry, you were cutting out a little bit, but yeah, it was fun. It was nice to finally get on the podium. But first, I just want to say sorry to Grant, Anthony, and Barrett for the first run. I was driving really bad, so just sorry to them. Sorry to Matt for killing him too. I was not driving the best this race, so I'm kind of surprised that this was the race I finished second. But yeah, it was fun last 2 laps. I was surprised I gained on him so much because obviously I was struggling for pace most of the night, and but I thought maybe I could have had a shot at him. I didn't want to send it too hard because from between hitting the wall and hitting like rear-ending people, I had like 24 incidents, so I couldn't really afford to get another one, or else I would have got a penalty. So yeah,
obviously Darlington not necessarily the kindest track when it comes to incident points indeed, and you mentioned you had racked up quite a few of them. Did that ever impact how you were driving the race, or was it kind of always just try to make up spots where you can and take it as it comes?
I did not hear a word you just said.
Well, that's just fantastic. Why don't I turn myself up a little bit here? We'll see if you can hear me a little bit better now on this one.
I think so, yeah.
All right. Well, obviously, as I mentioned, Darlington, not the it's not the friendliest track when it comes to incident points. You mentioned you racked up a few of them yourself. Overall, though, for you, I mean, when you look at this compared to other races, how would you say it shakes up compared to performances previously throughout the series?
Okay, it was not any better, but I think you said, like, compare this to other performances, right? Okay. Honestly, this is probably, like, my worst race in the league, believe it or not, but, I guess it's just kind of how the cookie crumbled. I think Rucci got a speeding penalty, and something happened to the 98, so, this is a tough track. I'm not very good here, but I'm just happy I got some luck tonight and finished P2, but definitely not my best performance in the league by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, hopefully you'll be getting yourself with some better races as the season goes along. Obviously, you are going to have Richmond coming on up here in just a week's time. What's your thoughts as we get set to go back short track racing?
Another track I'm not very good at, so I'm going to have to kind of fight for that one. But it'll be nice to get away from Darlington for sure, because this is a track I've always struggled at. As much as I don't like Richmond, I guess I did just say I'm not good there, but I've had some sort of success there in the past in other leagues, so we'll just have to see how it goes. It'll be crazy with it being obviously a short track.
Well, fingers crossed you'll be finding yourself with potentially one better result than tonight over at the Richmond International Raceway. Before I let you go, then here, Logan, anybody you would like to shout out for that DSR Toyota Supra?
Shout out to Tucson Sound Art, AMC, teammate Kyle Green. He couldn't make it tonight, but just shout out to him. Thanks for the admins for putting on a good show. Thank you for broadcasting, and I'll be excited to watch it on Thursday, even though I can barely hear you in this interview, so it'll be really bad.
Well, we'll make do with what we got. Thank you for joining us here tonight, then, Logan. Best of luck next week in Richmond.
Thank you.
Well, that is just about going to wrap it up then for us here tonight, and I have to say it has been an absolutely phenomenal race for us here tonight from the Darlington Raceway. Doesn't look like Spencer Ray is going to be able to give us a chat in his Go Spenny number 6 car, but I have to say I think he's going to be very, very content that he finished 3rd place despite all that attrition. For now, though, for the Darlington Raceway, it is about time that we say farewell. Want to give special thanks to Ryan Dingler for helping out as a pit reporter here tonight for the Eagle Tile 140. And thank you all once again for watching. We'll see you all next week in Richmond.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing SoundArt, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With SoundArt, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. SoundArt is elegantly hidden behind a high-grade, textured canvas wrap, bringing together the best of sound and art. This innovative design allows for a truly invisible, high-fidelity sound experience without bulky speakers. For licensors and other businesses, we are capable of producing thousands of units per day.
We're using the highest quality materials to give you the best product available in the market. Everywhere you look, there's always art. What I like so much about SoundArt, that you could just pair it and play.
Ansia, your art never sounded so good.